Brought to you by Bangkok Bank ราชมงคล University of Technology ธัญบุรี
Good morning, ASEAN. Freshen up your world, your thought, and your idea with us every weekday from 7:30 to 8 a.m. I'm Patsurang Desha Putharangsi.
And I'm Weena Jungrusit. It's Wednesday, the 28th of August. Let's start first with Thailand. Kun Patsurang about an important agricultural commodity in Thailand, which is rubber, as the protest by rubber farmers in Nakhon Thammarat has reached boiling point, with a court issuing arrest warrants for 6 protest leaders in the face of road closures and a rail line being blocked off. Warrants were issued at the request of police yesterday. This is in addition to the arrest warrants issued for 9 people last Friday after a bloody clash between police and protesting farmers erupted in this southern province. Meanwhile, Governor Wirot Jiwarangsan, via a representative yesterday, asked the provincial court to approve operations to reclaim public space from the protesters. Police spokesman Major General Piya Utayo said the road and railway blockades had affected about 15,000 travelers. Train passengers are stranded, while those traveling by road have to take a detour, he said. Prime Minister Yingluck yesterday urged protesters not to cross the line. She said the government has embraced patience, but people who have violated the law will face legal action. Several government figures have now tried to link opposition politicians to the intensifying protests by rubber farmers. Labor Minister Chaichirawiwat said he was fully confident that someone had engineered the ongoing protests. I can predict that this protest won't end easily, he said, adding that it has never been easy to stop rallies in the south. The southern province's region is known to be the stronghold of the Democrat Party. Prime Minister's Deputy Secretary General Suphan Attawong claimed his negotiations with rubber farmers' representatives had concluded satisfactorily, with an agreement that the government would peg the rubber price at 80 baht per kilogram. But dozens of teenagers outside the meeting venue in Nakhon Thammarat later loudly rejected the agreed price. 25 Democrat MPs yesterday held a press conference at Parliament House to dismiss any suggestions that they were behind the angry protest.
There was certainly a protest in the south, and also there is another protest happening in downtown Bangkok as about 24 Thai demonstrators gathered in front of the UK embassy to protest against the upcoming appearance of Tony Blair, the former UK Prime Minister, on the invitation of the Thai government. Thai media has reported that the government has paid Blair 20 million baht, or around $600,000 to speak at the forum, where he's set to deliver a lecture on bringing about peaceful reconciliation between opposing political parties. The government has denied paying for anything other than Blair's accommodation in Thailand. The protesters on Tuesday handed over a letter to the British government urging Blair not to join a one-day special lecture series on uniting on the future, learning from each other's experience, to be held on September the 2nd, which is next week. Peaceful protests flared up earlier this month as the Thai parliament debates an amnesty bill that could help exiled former Prime Minister Thaksin Shinawatra return home as a free man. If passed, the bill would scrap convictions or charges involving protesters active in waves of political unrest since the 2006 coup. Thaksin's sister, Yingluck was elected premier in 2011, and her administration has been criticized for trying to get his conviction quashed so he can return without going to jail. So one of the protesters said, "We came here today to give Mr. Tony Blair a letter for him to understand the truth about what he's about to do. We believe, the Thai people believe, the invitation from Yingluck's Pheu Thai party is a political manipulation. They're creating a political maneuver and manipulation," said protester organizer. And also, of course, Yingluck is also expected to attend the forum in September.
The United States has announced a major increase in the U.S. funding for military education and training programs in Southeast Asia. The U.S. Defense Secretary Chuck Hagel made the announcement during a speech at the Malaysian Institute of Defense and Security in Kuala Lumpur. He said the latest Pentagon budget includes $90 million for programs, an increase of more than 50% compared to 4 years ago. The decision comes as Washington is shifting its strategic focus increasingly towards the Asia-Pacific region. Hagel said the U.S. administration is seeking to rebalance diplomatic, economic, and security engagements with the Asia-Pacific to reflect Southeast Asia's emerging prominence and importance. Beijing has expressed concern over America's growing interest in the region, viewing it as an attempt to encircle China and embolden its neighbors. China has unresolved disputes with several countries, including Vietnam and the Philippines, over portions of the South China Sea. In his speech, Hagel stressed the importance of having emerging powers such as China and India participate in a new security architecture for the region. He argued that security is a critical foundation for prosperity in Southeast Asia, saying trade cannot flourish in waters that are contested by force.
Fires cloaked parts of Indonesia's Sumatra island again in thick smoke yesterday, forcing the cancellation of flights 2 months after the worst haze history hit Southeast Asia's the biggest economy. 2 water-bombing helicopters were deployed to tackle the blazes on Sumatra, where haze generated by forest and peatland fires set to clear land for cultivation is an annual problem. Some 488 fire hotspots has been detected by late Tuesday. So, according to the National Disaster Mitigation Agency, flights to and from Pekanbaru City, the capital of Riau province, have been disrupted, with only one able to land in the past 2 days. So, however, the agency spokesman Sutopo Purwo Nugroho said he added that the neighboring Singapore and Malaysia, badly hit by the June haze crisis, were not affected at the moment because the wind is now blowing northwest, so it's only spreading over Riau. The blazes in June on Sumatra left Singapore and Malaysia choking on the worst haze in more than a decade. The air pollution scared off tourists, forced schools to close, causing a rise in respiratory illnesses, and the fires have been largely blamed on palm oil firms using the illegal but cheap method of burning vast tracts of rainforest and peatland to clear them for planting.
The Philippine stocks tumbled yesterday. Find out more after the break. Starting this break with the Philippines, as the concerns over Syria nearly wiped out all of the gains in the Philippine stock market made this year. The bellwether Philippine Stock Exchange Index dived by 3.96% or 244.22 points on Tuesday to 5,916.99 points. The broader all-share index plunged by 3.59% or 134.98 points to 3,626.64 points. Trading volume reached 1.89 billion shares worth 9.22 billion pesos or about $207 million, with 147 stocks declining, 21 advancing, and 40 unchanged. All 6 counters were down, led by the property sector. By the time investors returned to the local market, sentiments had reversed as attention shifted to the Syrian conflict. Analyst Justino Kalaikay of Accord Capital Equities Corp said in his daily stock market comment, the index nearly fell below the 5,900 level and is now battling as the worst performing equities globally. U.S. and European market future indexes suggest pessimism may continue to take hold as geopolitical concerns cloud over economic data, Kalaikay said. Similarly, the U.S. equities failed to hold above the 15,000 mark, despite the government's report on weak durable good orders, which eased the concerns on tapering. The analyst said if things do not turn in the next couple of sessions, the local equities is poised to register its 3rd losing month. All 20 actively traded issues fell in the negative. These issues include SM Investments Corp, Metropolitan Bank and Trust Company, as well as Ayala Land Incorporation.
According to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Myanmar's good news, Kun Veena, will sign reciprocal visa exemption with other ASEAN countries in the next fiscal year. During a parliamentary session on Monday, Deputy Minister Tin U Win said that Myanmar and Laos signed a reciprocal 14-day visa exemption for ordinary passport holders back in 2006. It would try to sign visa exemptions with other ASEAN countries in the next fiscal year. Myanmar has received over $29 billion from visa fees collected by its embassies, permanent missions, and consulates in international countries from April 2011 to May this year. Meanwhile, Thai-Myanmar border gates will be designated as official international border gates yesterday, as of August 28th this year, according to Myanmar's Ministry of Immigration and Population. This will allow Thai citizens and foreign tourists with valid passports to enter Myanmar by land and depart from other official gateways, including Yangon, Naypyidaw, and Mandalay. A bilateral agreement between the two countries will create official gates at Tha Khilek Masai in Chiang Rai Province, Myawaddy Masot in Tak Province, Khot Thong Ranong, and Thi Khi Sut Naron. No official changes have yet been made concerning length of stay, renewal of visa, and visa fees. And visa on arrival will still not be available at the border gates due to the current security situation. Visitors can visit anywhere in the country except restricted areas released in January by Ministry of Home Affairs. The list of the restricted areas can be acquired at any of the border gates. Respective offices transfer the money they have collected for issuing visas, testimonials, and extending passports and issue new ones to Myanmar Foreign Trade Bank in euros every 3 months. The bank then transferred the money to respective ministries in equivalent jad, the deputy minister added. Myanmar has signed an agreement with Cambodia, Indonesia, and Philippines back in June to develop a smart visa system for tourism development in the region.
MAYBANK Investment Bank, or BHD, or the MAYBANK IB, plans to leverage on parent Malayan banking group's presence in Cambodia and Laos to penetrate in the capital markets there. MAYBANK IB Chief Executive Officer Tengku Abdul Aziz said he was looking at organic growth for the investment banking business in the two countries as they were opening up their capital markets slowly. MAYBANK has 12 branches in Cambodia and plans to open another 4, while it has 1 representative office in Laos. According to him, MAYBANK IB contributes about 8% to the financial group's pre-tax profit and revenue for the financial year 2012. On possible merger and acquisition activities, he said MAYBANK IB would rather look at it opportunistically than setting a fixed target. Amy said the group of new clients would be those aged between 25 and 35 who do not participate in the equities market due to the perception that it was very risky following the Asian financial crisis, as if the volatile regional markets would impact trading activities. She said MAYBANK IB's extensive coverage would enable it to recommend pockets of opportunities across different markets, thus helping clients to diversify their portfolios. Nonetheless, our country economist believes that the ringgit would strengthen to the 3.20 level at year-end, he said, adding that fundamentally, countries in the region were still growing. He noted that MAYBANK IB had taken a cautious approach and would advise its clients accordingly should the market deteriorate further.
The Vice President of Bangchak Petroleum is interviewed on a topic of ASEAN's fate, determined by energy drive on ASEAN Go Green.
The Southeast Asian region is currently growing through massive energy consumption, with increasing energy imports in each and every year. Noticing the trend, the bloc has laid out a foundation for its energy utilization under the ASEAN Plan of Action on Energy Cooperation, or APAEC, since 1999. The most recent plan, designated for 2010 to 2015, stipulated for the alternative energy development to be a strategic top priority, which aims to achieve a sustainable outcome.
ถ้ามองไปก็คือว่า projection ไปประมาณอีกสัก 25 ปีเราประมาณว่าพลังงานทั้งหมดที่ต้องการในพื้นที่อาเซียนแถวนี้นะครับจะขึ้นเป็น 3 เท่าของปัจจุบันนะครับ3 เท่านี้มันเยอะมากนะครับเพราะในพื้นที่แถวนี้เราต้องการพลังงานจำนวนมากในขณะที่ในอาเซียน 10 ประเทศเนี่ย8 ใน 10 เป็นผู้นำเข้าพลังงานนะครับแล้วความต้องการพลังงานเราเพิ่มขึ้น 3 เท่าก็ลองคิดดูภาพจะเป็นยังไงมันก็จะเกิดอันบาลานซ์แล้วก็ต้อง import มากมายเพราะฉะนั้นอยากจะกลับมาบอกว่าพลังงานทางเลือกเนี่ยมันเป็นอะไรที่มันมีอยู่ในประเทศเหล่านี้สามารถพัฒนาขึ้นมาทดแทนการนำเข้าน้ำมันนะครับมันก็จะเป็นประโยชน์มากสำหรับกลุ่มประเทศอาเซียน
Alternative energy is thought to be the best option for the upper ASEAN countries, while countries such as Thailand and Vietnam are highly capable of producing energy from natural resources from the likes of biomass, biogas, or biofuel. Meanwhile, Laos and Myanmar have the capacity to produce power from the dams, whereas Malaysia, Indonesia, and the Philippines are able to produce power from natural resources as well as from the dams and wind power. The geographical location of the Southeast Asian nations also gives the region its full capability to produce energy from solar power, which will answer to countries that is heading towards rapid growth like Myanmar or Cambodia due to the ease of installation of the equipments. Meanwhile, solar energy also has limitation that must not be overlooked.
ส่วนโซล่าก็เป็นตัวหนึ่งก็คงแล้วแต่ว่าแต่ละประเทศพร้อมแค่ไหนที่จะมาพัฒนาแต่วันนี้มันต้องการ subsidyมันเหมือนว่าพลังงานทดแทนเนี่ยในพื้นที่แถวนี้นะครับประกอบกับการต้องการพลังงานเพิ่มเติมเนี่ยตรงนี้เป็นทางออกที่ดีสำหรับกลุ่มในประเทศอาเซียนในการพัฒนาพลังงานทดแทนขึ้นมาแทนที่
From this point of view, there is a rough picture of a strategic plan being mapped out in hopes for the survival of the region's future. However, further progress in the matter should remain to be inertia for many ASEAN members, should it be dragged by political momentum and political will from government and parties at stake.
That's it for our ASEAN Go Green this week and also the end of our edition of Good Morning ASEAN. We'll see you again same time, same place, same channel.
Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Weena Jongprasit.
And I'm Hatsurang Desha Putrang Si. สวัสดีค่ะ
สวัสดีค่ะ